Welcome to the Employment Wednesday podcast with Yvonne Shabangu. Have you heard of the scripture Hosea 4 verse 6? My people perish because of the lack of knowledge. The same applies to your career. When you don't know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, you are likely to make wrong career choices. But worry not. Employment Wednesdays is here for you to offer you all the answers relating to your career and offer you strategies to develop your career. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. You are welcome to another episode of Law Without Borders with Yvonne Shabangu. And today I'm seated with Nobuhle Mbatha. And you know what? It's always good to get experience, right? Or sit with people that already have experience, right? But it's also good to hear from people that are going through the challenges, that are going through their career changes and their career elevation. So today I'm seated with Nobuhle Mbatha. She is a graduate, an LLB graduate from the University of Johannesburg. Hey, Ngati, this is the home of the University of Johannesburg. It's giving friend of the show. And then right after university, she found herself in the corporate world where she was a contracts administrator at Telkom, South Africa. And she was working with the group procurement department where she basically administered contracts from inception, the drafting and the signing and etc., which is something that we are going to talk about today. And then also right now she's currently serving her articles with the University of Johannesburg because it is an inclusive institution. It always tries to give back. So Nobuhle, over to you. Did I miss anything?
No, definitely not. Thank you so much for such a beautiful introduction. And yes, again, I am Nobuhle. I am 22 years old. It's important to mention we are the two Ks are within the profession now. Just wanted to put it out there that the two Ks are within, right? Yes, immediately after I completed my LLB, which was last year, actually not even after my exams.
Yes.
That's when I got a job and I went to Telkom, South Africa, and I was within the procurement department and got to be the contracts administrator there.
It's really interesting. I think I really want to go in depth, but before we go in depth with the whole thing of being in the procurement department and right after university, I think, it's really interesting. But before we go into that, let's go into icebreaker questions, right?
Okay.
I've been searching Instagram yakho. Kontengi bonile. I'm joking. You can relax. So how's your first day at work like?
My first day at my current job or at...
Your first ever job, like what was it?
I remember my first job that I got paid for was student administrative assistant. Gosh, I was so nervous. First days are tricky because you never know what to do.
Sure.
You just get in there and you wait for instruction. I think I don't have the best word to describe it, but it was awkward. Let me just say that. First days are always awkward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it get better as you found new jobs, as you progressed?
No.
It's always awkward.
It's always awkward. Because
Okay.
now you sit, it's like, you're here. Don't you know what to do? And obviously, I don't know what to do. So you
But
just
also
have
you're
to
afraid
sit.
to ask.
Right?
Sure. No,
So
I
yeah,
completely
awkward
understand.
is the best word, actually.
Okay. All right. And then if you were a drink, what drink would you describe yourself as and why?
I think I'd be tea.
Okay.
Right?
That's a first. Love it.
I'd be tea.
And why?
You know, if you have it when it's hot, you're gonna get burnt. But you don't also want to have it cold.
Okay.
So I'm really that person that
okay.
Yeah, nyashisa, but funny,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You must have timing when it comes to you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ngizele
All right. What did you want to be as a kid growing up?
I had a change of mind at every point.
Okay.
I think when I was still in primary, I wanted to be a fashion designer.
Nice.
At some point, I wanted to be a marine biologist. I think that was in junior secondary, and when I realized that I really don't enjoy science, I had a change of heart, and I was like, okay, now I want to be a real estate agent.
Okay.
Yeah, I think throughout high school, I was convinced that I'm gonna be a real estate agent.
All right. All right, nice. I love that. And I think one thing I can always say, it is okay to change your mind.
Yeah.
And as you change your mind, it's important to be honest and allow yourself to be, especially if you have the time and the luxury of exploring new things. So allow yourself to grow and change your mind. Now we're going to go into the real stuff, right? Then how did you find, what was your turning point or your influence to study law? Because now you wanted to be all these other things. I don't hear you saying you wanted to be a lawyer. So then you end up in LLB. How did that happen?
No, I'm so glad that I get a chance on such a platform to actually tell my story. Because I always tell people that I've never wanted to be a lawyer, and people would be like, that's crazy because you have 2 law degrees. I have a BCom law and an LLB.
Oh, okay, nice.
Right? And they'd be like, how did you study towards 2 degrees if you really didn't want to be a lawyer? You know, that is my truth and my story. Never ever in my life, even when at crash daycare they would say do yourself, I never said I wanted to be a lawyer ever. So now when I was filling in applications, you have to choose 2 options.
Yes.
I chose my first option, property. Then I put in that was a different institution. I put in education. Then at UJ I was like communications. Then I threw in BCom law. For no
vibes.
reason. For vibes.
Okay.
Now it's end of the year. Beginning of the year, results are coming out. I passed well. And now I'm just, when that stress, when you're waiting on universities.
Yes.
And UJ replied first, and they were like, we're offering you space in BCom law. Like, I don't even know.
Did you even understand what it was? Because I was about to ask. Just to tell you a quick story, right? So in my first grade 11, when we were applying, I actually enrolled for my master's. I didn't know what a master's was, right? I didn't know that you had to go through honors and all of that. So I put in LLB, then I put in master's in banking, right? And then after that, I get a rejection. I cried so much because I'm like, I'm so smart. Like, my marks are good. What's happening? Then later on, I figured that no, you can't enroll for a master's straight out of high school. You find out later on, and which is why platforms like Employment Wednesdays that aim at educating are here so that you know what you're choosing, so you go into your BCom.
I'm one of those who would say, law chose me, I didn't choose it, right? Because now it was time for me to register, and I'm like, you know what? This other institution is taking forever to reply, and I want to study property so much. And I'm like, let me go for communications. My mom was like, you're crazy.
Okay.
Who does communication? After that, what happens?
But that's another thing. There's a lot of misnomers surrounding degrees, because I'm seeing now a lot of people, telecommunications, what communications are doing great. And I'm looking to have a guest also, because our parents were convinced that communications is not it.
Yeah, my mom was like, what was your other option? I'm like, BCom law, go for it. She only had law, and she was go for it. And I don't want to lie to you. For the 3 years, I did well academically.
Okay, nice.
But not from the inside.
Yes.
I was dying from the inside. From the first year till the very last year of my BCom, I always felt like I don't fit in.
Yes.
I feel like I'm not a lawyer enough.
I
don't argue enough. I don't have legal opinions enough. Then at the end, my final year BCom law, I decided, let me add a spice to my BCom law degree.
Sure.
I decided to add tax law from the LLB curriculum. And then, everything went well and I was done. And I even told my family that, you know what, I'm actually going to study property. I'm ready.
But also, why tax?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Not for
dating. To say, let me just add a unique module. Tax was a thing. Then you were like, you need to be a tax. Don't. I'm like, okay, let me just.
Yeah, because also apparently tax specialists do get paid well.
Yeah. So I was like, let me add tax so that I have some tax knowledge, And also because I saw myself going to corporate. So I was like, makes sense.
Whatever that looks like.
So, I added text. End of the year, got my results, qualification obtained, and now I have to submit my academic record to the institution I'd applied for. I had applied to. So now they're like, okay, let's see your academic record.
This is when you're applying for property.
For
going
property
into property
now.
Okay.
I've told everyone is ready for it. I'm like, I'm done with law. I've never wanted this.
Sorry to interject, what kept you going? Because I can imagine not wanting to do something and having to go on for 3 years and still do well at it? What was the driving force?
I had hope that at some point I'll be better.
Okay.
Yeah. I had
So
hope.
every day
Yeah.
you would be like, okay, it's going to get better. It's
Yeah.
going to get better. But
Yeah.
it never did.
It never did. I was like, no, I need to think positively about it. I need to have a positive attitude towards it. Maybe I'm the one,
Okay.
who has a problem. Maybe it's not so bad. What is it that I want? It's not like you are failing or something. What's wrong? So, I would always blame myself and think,
Okay.
there's nothing wrong. That's what kept me going. And also to say, I've got nothing to lose, man. Why not just do it? You know? So yeah, now the academic report comes and it says become law qualification obtained, LLB, you may continue studies. I lose it.
I would lose it too. Who said I want to continue?
Now I'm calling the faculty. I'm like, what's going on? They said, by taking a module from the LLB curriculum, you automatically got admitted to
the
study
LLB.
the LLB.
Shucks.
And I'm like, can't we remove it?
What's fuck?
Like, let's make a plan. Can we remove? I don't care. We can remove the text law marks. I don't mind.
Sure.
And they're like, no, we can't use it. We can't remove it. University rules. What? And I'm like, I can't present this to the different institutions because they're gonna be like,
looks like I'm already enrolled,
right? And that's how I got back to LLB.
God, there's a book I was reading, Bamboozled by Jesus by Yvonne Orji.
Yeah.
She basically talks about how God tricked her into her life of her dreams.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how I'm feeling about your journey. It's like basically you're being forced into a thing. Because what could you have done? There was no way you could just drop out, and you had to go through it. And what was the experience like? It was a 2 years edition?
Yeah, it was a 2 years edition, and the first of the two was the worst. At every point, I just felt like walking out of it.
Okay.
I was like, it's so hard because now you have to do so many modules in that year. 3rd year, 2nd year, some 4th year. It was a lot of work. It was overwhelming. My mental health there was
in
taking.
shambles.
Yeah. Like every moment I wanted to quit. Every day I felt like, what, man, I have a degree. Why do I need this?
Yes.
Yeah. That's how it was.
So how did you handle your mental health, since you're saying it was overwhelming and you were falling apart? What tools were you using to keep yourself going forward?
I'm not gonna speak about the others that failed. The one that truly worked was prayer. I remember at the end of the first 2-year LLB. At the end, we used to go, when I was at home in KZN, I would go with my grandmother in Tabeni in the mountains to pray in the morning.
Sure.
It was already towards the end of the year, those around the 25th, 6th, around there, and I remember writing a note. And I was like, because we cross a river to get to the mountain. So I was like, I'm going to write a note and I'm going to throw it in the river. And all that I'm feeling is going to go away with the water.
Sure, so you
right?
let it go.
Yeah, I was like, and when I got to the mountain, my prayer was, God, make it make sense. Right? There's no way that I've been running away from this profession and you just
pulling me
back.
Sure.
Make it make sense and at least make me feel good about it.
Sure.
Do something that's going to make me realize that, you fit in. Maybe not like everyone else, but you fit in, And if this is a calling, make me accept it.
Sure.
And that was my prayer. I went down the mountain, I threw the paper and, it floated the river. And I came back to my final year and I had law clinic and my supervisor just loved me from the first day.
Wow.
I didn't even understand what was that all about. Now we talk, after class we talk about law clinic. How was your law clinic experience? And people will say
people are complaining
the worst things
how
about law
crazy
clinic.
it is.
And I had 1% to it, something nice to say, but I couldn't say it. You can't say it.
Where did you do your law clinic?
At Auckland Park.
Auckland Park.
Auckland Park
and
campus.
I've heard go strict it's giving strict and but okay.
But it was a different experience for me. It was a completely different experience for me.
Yeah. So would you say that was the affirmation that at least I need to be here?
No. I was still not convinced that I needed to be in the profession. I was like, at least now I feel better about studying towards this.
Okay.
But I still told myself that after I'm done here, peace out. No, peace out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't enough. You felt like, what was it going to take to validate the fact that you fit in? Given that now you have this person that really likes you, they're affirming, and that's not the norm, but they are to you, that shows some sort of favor and grace, but you're still not convinced.
I think there could never be anything really, because even at this point, I just feel like, if maybe I wanted to do this, then,
Okay.
and for me, it's like a thing of I have to grow passion within
Okay.
the profession while I'm within,
Sure.
unlike other people who come in with the passion.
With the passion.
Right?
So you have to nature grow it and plant it and all of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I get how stressful that must be.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you do your law clinic, you're done with your degree, and then what prompted you to start applying to Telkom and etc.?
Yeah. So when I finished, towards the end of my BCom law, I tried applying for learnerships and everything, and I got a lot of rejections then.
So you were sorry, just to interject. With the learnerships, like what prompted you to apply for learnerships? Did you know, or were you just applying? Did you have a goal in mind? Because now that you've finished your LLB, a person would think that okay, maybe she's gonna go into property. Why then start applying for learnerships and all of that?
I think it was because I needed a break from the I didn't want to go to the inside the profession or practice or whatever. So I was just like, you know what, I need anything outside law. Right. So I would apply maybe to the banking sector, insurance, everywhere where I wouldn't really end up
Like
assuming a legal role.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that was the rationale.
So
behind
what portals were you using to apply?
At first it was LinkedIn.
Okay.
Then I was introduced to PNet.
Okay, love PNet.
And I put most of my applications. I sent most of my applications there, PNet.
Via PNet.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to secure something from the time you started applying?
For this particular post that I got when I finished my exam, I think they responded after a month and a half. But I was really dedicated at applying.
Okay.
This time around, unlike the first time around, because the first time, towards the end of my BCom, I was like, maybe I will qualify for anything, because I did well. When you do well, you think everything will go well. I don't know, so
You had to
this
put in
time
more
around,
effort
I
and you were
knew. I
intentional.
told myself at least 2 applications a day, or at
Okay.
least 4 a week.
All right.
But so I started applying way earlier in the year. Even before June, I had started applying, sending applications.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now that you applied for so you said you're applying for anything. You didn't care what it was.
I was just applying for anything and
Okay.
everything. Even articles themselves, I just applied.
just
nje.
applying.
And that was just for vibes. I was like, if I happen maybe to stay at home,
It is what it
let
is.
me just. But it
Okay.
was really not because I wanted to serve articles or anything. like
Okay.
that,
So now you get this post in procurement, right?
Yeah.
And what did it look like? How did you feel about it? How was the interview process and all of that?
It's crazy because from the job post itself, they never outlined exactly, the job specs or whatever. They just said they're looking for a graduate, and they were also recruiting via an agent. I kept asking the agent, what does the role entail? They're like,
Yes.
I really don't know, but all
Sure.
I know is that you're going to be coming in for about 4 months, because the lady that is in that role is going for maternity and whatever. So it was already an existing
role.
So it wasn't
Okay.
like, it's a
So it was
graduate
temp.
program. Yeah, it was temp.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a graduate program where you're going to learn. They needed someone who's going to get in the role, hit the ground running,
yes.
because we have someone who fulfills this role, so we need someone who's going to just hold in for the 4 months while they are away.
Okay.
So that was about it.
All right. No, that makes sense. And what did your role entail when you started it? What is it that you did? Like if you were doing a video, I'm going to see a day in my life. So maybe a day in your life as a procurement officer or a contracts administrator. Take us through it.
So basically what we would do as we're in the procurement department.
Sure.
Not a legal department.
Okay.
So even if you're hearing the word contracts administration, but not in the legal sense, but there is some legal into it, So we're in the procurement department. So in essence, what happens is, in procurement, if the business is in need, then we have your sourcing specialists that go out and look for suppliers who can satisfy that business need, right? And after that process is complete and the supply has been approved by the different forums, then it's now we are next in line. We take on the job of drafting the contracts now.
Sure.
So we would draft the contracts from scratch. Okay, not scratch, we used templates.
Everybody uses templates,
We use
but
templates, but
obviously
yeah.
you need to put like the exact, like
Yeah.
tailor make it to the situation or circumstance.
True,
Yeah.
true.
So that's why I would say don't take contract templates from Google or anything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Because those contracts, they're tailor made for specific situations.
True.
Yes.
True. So what, like, maybe to also add on to that, you need to apply your mind. You need to, you need to know from just selecting the template, you need to know, reading from the scope of work the supplier would be providing, you need to tell which template is applicable, right? So after you've drafted, you send the draft to the supplier and they have comments on whatever you've drafted, then we send it to a legal department and they review it.
Okay.
Right?
So you guys do the groundwork, then they get to peruse and review and approve, disapprove.
Then they're like, we fine. Then it comes back to me again. Then we sign off.
Okay.
Now, we make sure that now you engage with the stakeholders, business units, whoever that needs to sign, the supplier themselves, and have it signed off.
Okay. So did you enjoy that? How was the experience? Is it something that you were looking at, okay, I could do this long term, or like, how was the experience?
I truly enjoyed it. I think I also loved the work environment itself.
Okay.
The
Oh,
people.
big ups. No wonder they are top employer.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, the people were amazing.
Sure.
They were willing to teach you and stuff, especially because this was an already existing role. So it
Yes,
wasn't like I
yeah.
was thrown in the deep end, and I had to figure things out. I had a colleague that really came in very handy and assisted me, So I really enjoyed it. I don't want to lie. But, my concern was, do you really think you could do this for like
long
5 years?
term. Okay.
Because it's the same thing, really.
Oh, it's repetitive.
Yeah. So
okay.
if you're not drafting a contract from scratch, you're probably drafting an addendum. You're extending an already existing contract.
Okay.
So that's basically it. I was also like a secretary for this other procurement forum. Then you just go there, you draft minutes, and that was just it all day, every day.
Okay, so it depends. If you're a person that easily gets bored, might not be recommendable.
Yeah.
But if you feel like you want something really flexible, comfortable, it's something to look into.
Yeah.
Okay, Gabe, because I'm how is the money? Was it good?
I think in my instance, it was a different story altogether because now we were employed via an agent.
Okay.
Right. And you know how agencies are. They're gonna strip you off. No, but in terms of the market, I think you could look at maybe something around 15 to 30.
As an entry level, like yes, okay. Then as you progress, then it gets better.
Yeah.
Okay, that is great. So somebody at home, if you're looking into going into procurement, you don't need to be admitted, right?
No, definitely not.
Okay,
because
so-
I was fresh from school, and my other colleague who was already there for like for almost 2 years was also like, what, I came here fresh from school. Yeah, and I do want to put it out there that most companies now are actually hiring law graduates to fill in the roles of contracts administrators, because obviously we are more exposed to drafting and stuff. So they feel that it would make better sense for contracts to be drafted by law students or law graduates.
Okay.
Rather.
So what did that role teach you?
Ooh. It taught me that, the workplace is not such a bad place.
Sure.
It's not a bad place at all. You can literally be in a healthy environment and have the best colleagues. That's the one thing I kept thinking. I kept worrying about when, I got the offer to go elsewhere. I was like, how will the people be? I was most stressed about that, really, more than anything else, not about the work. Because the work you can always learn.
Yes, you learn.
I was stressed about the environment and the people.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I was fresh from school, just a baby, I could say, in the corporate world. And, I had the best people. And it's you don't have to always believe that, when you're fresh from school, you're going to suffer. Yeah. Similarly with other schools, people were like, you're going to suffer. That's not true. That's not always the case.
Yes, it's not always the case. I think also it depends on attitude. One, it depends on who you work for.
Yeah.
It depends on the attitude and how you look at whatever that you're going through, whatever season that you're in, right? And then what is it that you wish that somebody told you before you actually considered law? Because, I mean, you could have told your mom, like, hey, mama, and this guas.
Oh, I wish it was that easy. Just say, mama, no, don't be. I'm not going to do that. You know, the one thing I would say is, it gets better with time. You know, even if you find yourself in a position that you probably wouldn't have went for, it just gets better.
So you've learned that it gets better with time.
Yeah, I wish I was told that, because I would have probably even went through my studies with much more ease.
Yes.
You know,
much more enthusiasm.
Yeah. If only I knew that it would get better with time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, a lot of the people in the corporate space, they always say it doesn't get better. But I love that today we have a positive light to say it does get better with time. And also, as long as you should be willing to learn from what you're telling me, being fresh out of university and going into a role that's already existing where you need to get the ball running and the ball rolling. Like it can be very nerve-wracking and all of that. But because you're willing and you asked for help from people around you, right? It's really inspiring, man, that you actually straight out of uni, you told yourself that I'm applying. I love that. And I'm so proud of you, because some people do stay and they don't apply. Some people do drop out. And the fact that you allowed yourself to be pulled back into the profession, because some people actually decide, I don't care who said what, I'm going to drop out or I'm going to leave it at BA. But you seeing that, you know what, it seems like I need to complete this, and you actually followed through. It's very inspiring, and it teaches us that sometimes it's not things that we want that we're going to get, but sometimes it's things that we're called to, you know, and it seems like you are called to law. And now let's go into articles. Why are you doing that?
You know, I said there's a contract administrator, and every day the senior legal specialist was like, you guys need to get admitted. You're too young to be sitting here. You know, you need to cement yourself in this profession. And the only way to do it is if you get admitted. You know, and I was like, no. For me, you could never convince me to go that route. I was like, no, no, never. You know, and I remember there was also this other family member that was like to me, you know, you should get admitted. You know, you've got nothing to lose. And I told him that, you know what, let me think about it. Let me continue doing what I'm doing right now and where I'm at. And I'll see, maybe I'll have a change of mind at some point. So it took a lot of convincing.
Sure.
You know?
So were you applying for vacancies as you were in that role? So, did you understand that it was temp? Did you know that it was okay? You knew that it was just for 4 months.
Yeah.
And thereafter you needed something else. So were you still applying within that 4 months?
I had stopped, honestly, and my colleague was like, are you crazy? You know,
you can't stop applying for jobs in this country.
Yeah, you
Even if you are happy, you must apply. You know, I saw this meme, Eri. It's so funny. So this person is like, you took sick leave, ne?
Yeah.
And then you're going for an interview. When you get to the interview, your boss is part of the panel. What do you say? So I was asking people what they would say. People are like, the interview must go on. I'm sorry, I said I'm going on sick leave, but the interview must go on. So yeah, I think I would highly encourage that you continue applying, even if you're in a comfortable position. If you're a person that is interested in growing, always apply. And I say always apply because you don't want to operate from desperation.
True.
It's one thing it's already hard looking for a job when you already have another job. Imagine if you were to wait until you didn't have a job.
Yeah.
So always apply, compare the offers. Sometimes I always say people must just go to interviews to improve their interview etiquette, because if you stay in a role for 7 years, you haven't attended an interview. Imagine you get an interview on the 8th year, you've rushed a bit. So at least every once in a year, attend an interview, you know, remind yourself of the nerves, because I feel like no matter how prepared we are, interviews are nerve-wracking. Like I still get nervous with interviews, you know. So yeah. And then now you haven't been applying. So how do you end up getting articles?
So in our final year LLB, right? You know, I got a hint from my supervisor saying, no, the law clinic will be taking in.
I also got a hint.
Yeah, we'll be taking in candidates because they don't take candidates every year.
Every year.
Right?
Like I think it's after 2 years or
after
so.
2 years, and they were like, no, they'll be taking in candidates next year, and you know that the bigger law clinic is the one they buy Soweto, so they'll be like, they'll be taking in because those ones will be leaving. I was like, oh, okay, sure. Not that I'm interested, but I'm gonna drop my CV anyway because my thing was I really don't want to be at home, So I was like, let me drop my CV. I had long forgotten about that. I had long forgotten. And when they called me, I didn't have to say I'm taking a sick leave and all those stunts. I didn't have to pull those ones, The nice thing about the company I was working for at the time was that we worked from home on a Monday and on a Friday, and the interview was scheduled on a Monday.
Oh, okay.
So the only thing I had to do was book myself busy on Teams so that whenever they view my profile, they think I'm in a meeting or something.
Yes.
So yeah, I hope my former boss doesn't see this, but yeah, that's what I did. I booked myself busy the whole day. Yeah. Then I went to attend the interview. Okay. Yeah.
And then how was the experience of the interview? Was it easy? Was it challenging? What did they ask you? Were you shocked? Was that your face at the interview? Like, what's happening?
It was really a confirmation why I didn't want to be there. When I got in there, they were like, first exercise, draft a mandate letter.
Like,
mandate letter? When did I draft a letter now? Come on. When you have to now be creative.
Yes.
Then after we went to the boardroom and they were like, okay, they asked me about myself and stuff, the standard procedure. And then they brought a notice of intention to defend. And they were like, tell us what's wrong with this document.
And I'm sure it looked correct, ne?
From a drafting perspective, it was correct.
Yes.
Because now I'm used to drafting so much. So whenever I look at something, I look at it from the drafting perspective, not from the completeness perspective.
Yes.
So when they had a follow-up question, that's when I understood what is it that they actually wanted me to look for in that document. To actually see that it's not signed.
Okay.
And I thought they were asking me if it's correctly drafted, So I was like, at that point I was like, I failed this. I failed this. And I didn't care. My colleague had forced me to attend this interview anyway. So I was like, I don't have anything to lose. Whether it goes good or bad, I really didn't care much. Yeah. Then 2 days later I got a call and they were like, well, you did great, and you've been appointed.
Okay.
And I was like, no.
Were you done with your 4 months or
no, not yet. Not yet. I was still in month. Actually, I went to attend an interview on a Monday. Tuesday, the next day, my colleague was leaving because we were doing the same job. There was only 2 of us, contract administrators. And then the executive came and made an offer to me to say, no, we can exchange your contract and maybe try to negotiate a good pay for you. What do you think? And a part of me was like, don't say yes, don't say yes, don't say yes. Say you're gonna think about it. And I was like, I'm gonna think about it.
Okay.
The next day, I had to go back and be like, Ish, I'm sorry, but this is my resignation.
I can imagine. Yesterday you're being offered something better, and then the following day you're coming with your resignation.
Yeah, that's how it went.
Okay. So what made you choose articles over the other position?
I had to sit down and pray about it.
Okay.
And out of all the advices that I got and all the persuasions, say no, do it. I was like, what do you have to say, God? And I think in that moment, God was like, someone came to me and was like, you've got nothing to lose. And I was like, oh, that's all I needed to hear. That I've got nothing to lose.
So let me rather go for it.
Let me just do it. Okay. Yeah, and that's how I ended up doing articles.
I love that. Your journey is very interesting.
Yeah.
And then a person who wants to apply for articles at law clinics, how do they go about it? Do they just submit their CVs like physically, or do they share posts on LinkedIn, or however? How does it work?
I've seen the other institutions, they actually advertise their CA roles. But with ours, I've never seen such a thing. I think it's something they probably just share with their students.
Okay.
Maybe if you're coming from the outside the institution, you can just maybe ask the final year students, how do you think it's going with your law clinic and stuff? Then, ask how you can go about applying or if they'll be taking in candidates. Because like we already mentioned, with our institution, they don't take in CAs annually.
And
once
every
in a while.
time
Yeah.
people leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I don't like leaving without talking about money. It's very important that I talk about money. I love money. I mastered in banking. So it's very important that I talk about money. A person who wants to go into articles for at a law clinic, how much are they looking at? You have to give me an exact amount.
I had high expectations. I don't want to lie. I had high expectations. Let me tell you the crazy part to show you that this is actually something I'm called for. When I got the offer, I didn't ask how much they are gonna pay me.
Okay.
I was like, you know what? At an institution, they're gonna pay me well. Let me leave. You know. And on the day I had to sign, it was almost a week into my notice, into my notice period. And now I got there and, they're offering me the exact same pay I'm getting where I'm coming from.
Wow.
And I was like, you know what? This was God's plan, because that's the reason why he made me to not inquire about this. Because if I had inquired about it, I was going to be like, no.
You're going to rather stay.
No.
Okay.
No, I was so excited thinking I'm going to get a lot of money. Even when I was drafting that resignation letter, I was like, God, it's fine. If it has money, it's all right.
So basically, lower your expectations.
Lower
guys.
the
But it can't be that bad.
No, it's not bad. No, it's not bad.
Okay.
I know people who get
less than. Okay, so what are we looking at? What average? Like between to what? Like maybe between 10 to 15? 8 to 15?
8 to 15. Definitely.
8 to 15.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're looking at articles at an institution, look at 8 to 15. Because I remember I once interviewed with that other institution. I won't mention by name because So they offered me 7.5, but I think it was in I finished my degree in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in 2019. So it's not bad also compared to the fact that we don't have a lot of prestigious law firms in South Africa.
Yeah.
We have like the big 5, and then we have a number of medium firms, and then we have a lot of small firms who pay people 3.5, 2.5, 4.5, 5,000 rand. So the government is trying to, like the LPC is trying to reach a minimum, but they are fighting a big fight, you know. So sometimes it is important to look at it from a perspective that you are getting experience. I'm not saying lower yourself too much. You know your circumstances. You know what you need to lose, what you don't have to lose, you know. I always said, I don't care for money. Like I love experience because no one can ever take that away from me. And also I'm able to confidently say that because I have a support system. You know, but other people don't have the luxury of saying they don't care about money because maybe they have a child, they have this, they have that, they have bills to pay. So when you look at the salary of a CA, just don't have too high expectations. The gap between big 5s and small law firms or general law firms is too much. And unfortunately, not everybody is going to the big 5 firms. We need to also start normalizing that and understanding that not going to the big 5s is not a failure, but it's just knowing that there's only so much candidates that they can take, you know. So I really love that also with you still feeling like, they don't pay well, whatever the case may be, you still went ahead and gave it your best shot, right? What would you call the season of your life in a sentence?
I have quite a lengthy one with a lot of commas. I would say I'm a Peter. I'm a Peter in the season.
Okay.
And
Peter the disciple.
Yes, the one who walked on water.
Yes,
I'm that. Really, I'm not just walking on water, I'm walking on the calling. Because, you know, I once reposted that on my LinkedIn when I saw someone share a sermon that, you know, their pastor gave. And he was like, you know what? Peter didn't just walk on water, he was walking on the calling. And that's literally what I'm doing. I'm just walking on the calling, and I'm just like, I'm trusting you, God, because I've tried to run away from this so many times. So I'm just going to walk on this calling and allow things to be whichever way you want them to be. Let your will be done, man.
Okay, that is beautiful. To people at home, word of encouragement, because you know, I saw this other joke, but people were talking on TikTok, but imagine in 2003 sending you an email saying you haven't sent my work, and then after that they CC your manager. But I'm a 2K snitch and all of that. Like, it's very funny how like people are growing, and actually as young as you guys are, you have better information and you're going into the workplace. So what would you say to your peers or people that have to deal with your peers at work?
Be kind to us, man, because it could go down very quickly.
Wow.
And I've actually realized that, when you're in that legal profession, there are a lot of bullies.
Sure.
You don't have to really. I say, 2Ks. We don't stick through things.
Okay. You up and leave.
We either tell you that we're not happy with something, or we just stand up and leave. Really, that is us, But really, I feel like we are full of respect. If people could respect us, and be kind to us and treat us like adults, because now we're adults.
Yes,
really, we are 22, 23 now. We are old.
Yeah.
It's
for old. No, you guys are adults.
People treat us like children. I've seen ways someone was like, trying to comfort me, and I'm like,
Don't do that. So basically, we are all sort of equal.
Yeah.
We should treat each other with mutual respect.
Yeah. Okay. And to my peers, man, whether they're doing their articles as well, or they're working elsewhere, or they're sitting at home, open your heart out to the universe, because you don't know what you are destined to do, really. I've realized from my path to say that, you may have your own plans to say, this is what I want to do, but at the point where I stopped and I was like, what is it that God you want me to do, or universe, what is it that you want from me? And everything just kept on falling into place. Like, everything happened, and I was like, oh.
I really love that. And I love that. One thing I love the most about your journey is that wherever God calls you, He provides. Look at you. He pulled you into the profession. You sort of effortlessly got articles. Not to say that if you fight for articles, it's not your call.
Yeah.
But my point is, wherever you're called, you are provided for. You just need to stick it through and be obedient in whatever that you're called to. Thank you so much for honoring my invite and availing yourself and being willing to share your experiences with us. I hope to see you in the next couple of years to see what you would have achieved and what you have to share with everybody. To everybody at home, do not forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And do not forget that you are not alone. You are gracefully anchored. God bless you.